So one of the things that I often think about is how sales pros are usually pulled in so many different directions, right? And staying calm and clear and focused uh, is a skill, but not a natural skill. And I know personally that was, like my husband will often say, it's like an emotional roller coaster ride watching you go through the sales process, right? Because, yay, the client responded to me. Oh no, they haven't gotten back to me in like 3 days. Should I ping them again? And it's this constant up and down, up and down. And you try to be calm, but that's really difficult. So, what advice would you give?
It's just part of the job, right? Like, we're not gonna change that aspect of any sales role. And so rather than looking to try to change the sales role from what it fundamentally is, we look at how do we strengthen ourselves and our capacity to be able to handle that, turmoil, that up and down, that roller coaster, and that's where we have the most ability to control is in ourselves. So things like, intentionally slowing down, taking a breath, like taking a pause before you hop on a call. When you get off a call, taking a little pause. And I'm not talking about, 5 minutes and you have to get in a lotus position or anything like that, but just like okay. And really checking in with yourself on what is an emergency, what isn't. I know everything feels when it's related to a client, and that client's happiness, or whether they're getting what they need, are they getting tended to? Everything can feel like a fire. And the problem is that if we have that mindset, then we're exhausting ourselves. We don't have an infinite amount of energy to be handling everything that's coming our way. And so we really have to be discerning about, is this an actual fire? Is this an actual emergency that needs my immediate response? Do I need to be the one that responds? And this is a really big question for leaders, because there can be this sense of control that we feel like we need to have as leaders. But taking that moment, just a little moment, and asking ourselves, do I need to be the one that's handling this? Is there somebody else that I can hand this off to? Can really preserve that energy. And if we think of like energy as being, we have 100 points of energy to just make it easier. If that simple act of saying, do I need to be the one, saves us 5 points of energy, that's gonna be a lot. If we can do that throughout the day, we get 5 points here and 3 points there and 1 point there. It may seem really insignificant in the moment to just get that 1 point back, but at the end of the day, if we've saved, 30, 40 points of energy by doing that, then that's huge.
Right, and I love how you say that, hit the pause. It's so interesting because it reminds me of also with the kids in the family, like with, raising kids, often, like, how often do you tell a child, "Use your words," "Express yourself," and let's pause, and then I took this actually, I was just talking about this on another podcast where I took this practice when I became a manager and a leader because I used to do it for myself. Let's hit the pause button. Something is not right. How do I, kind of like readjust? Or I would even like I keep a separate little pad on my desk where if something is bothering me, but I don't want it to be annoying me throughout the course of the day, I'll write something down almost to like park it. I'm giving it its space, so to speak, but then I need to like evaluate it and go back to it. But I don't want it to like chip away at me all day because it's like as soon as I have a little bit of a downtime, I'm gonna go back and think about that annoying, email that I got, when you worked so hard on a particular, proposal, or a manager is questioning me on, like some of my productivity numbers. And meanwhile, it's like, oh my God, I'm working so hard, right? Those are all the little things that can kind of like chip, 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 and then affect your how you present yourself.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you're carrying all of that around in your brain. So what you're doing when you're writing it down is you're allowing your brain to, like, release that. Okay, your brain is basically saying, "All right, I don't have to work so hard to make sure that Anna remembers this." You're like, "I got it. I wrote it down. I'm gonna come back to it. Don't you worry. You can let it go now." You're kind of in this relationship, this partnership with your brain, and sometimes our brain is working for us and sometimes it's not so much. And I love what you talk about with going back to how we talk to kids and the skills that we help kids with in terms of emotional regulation. I was just doing a training where somebody said, so essentially, I should be doing all the same things that I'm teaching my 4 or 5 year old to do. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I mean, if it were up to me, we would have never stopped. We do a really good job of kind of early childhood emotional, social skills, and then we have this big, long gap. So, absolutely, we can learn a lot from what kids are learning in the classroom and things like that.
Great. Thank you, Ashley.